I honestly thought this painting was going to be much simpler when I started. Just a quiet landscape, a field, a forest in the distance, and a few flowers in the foreground. But I ended up working on it for 2 full days, and at some point, I realized I was literally sitting there, painting every tiny blade of grass. And the funny thing is, the more details I added, the more I wanted to keep going. Because in the beginning, this painting looked nothing like it does now. If you had seen it after the first layer, you probably would have asked, okay, how is this supposed to turn into a field of flowers? So let me show you. Before I started painting, I finally opened my new professional watercolor set. There's something so satisfying about a brand new palette. Every pan is perfectly clean. Every color is untouched. And you already know it's going to stay that way for about 5 minutes. I unwrapped the colors one by one and placed them into the palette, already thinking about the mood I wanted. I didn't want a bright summer field. I wanted something cooler and quieter, almost like early morning after rain. Damp air, soft light, a forest disappearing into mist, and tiny flowers keeping the foreground alive. So I knew I'd need cool blues, muted greens, soft grays, and a little pink and yellow. What surprised me most was how intense these colors were. Even a small amount of paint gave me a really strong color, so I had to get used to the new palette while I was already painting. Once the palette was ready, I moved on to the paper. I wanted a lot of open space at the top, a calm sky, a thin line of forest, the field, and then all the chaos of flowers and plants in the foreground. I lightly sketched the main shapes in pencil and kept everything soft. Then came my favorite part. I took a large brush and completely wet the paper. This is always the moment where watercolor stops being predictable. You add water, and suddenly part of the painting belongs to the water itself. I started working wet on wet, and the pigment immediately began spreading on its own. Sometimes it goes exactly where you want it to. Sometimes it absolutely does not. And those accidents often become the most beautiful parts. I started with the sky, mixing cool blues with gray and a little green, leaving some white paper for light. While it was still wet, the colors blended into each other by themselves. Then, I moved into the forest. If you look closely, there aren't many actual trees in it. It's mostly soft shapes, vertical marks, dark green patches, and gray-blue shadows. That was intentional. I wanted the forest to feel far away, like you're looking at it through damp air and light fog. I had to stop myself from adding too much detail. Sometimes, to make something feel more realistic, you actually need to paint less. Then I moved down into the field, where the colors became much stronger. I added greens, yellowish tones, touches of blue, and much darker color near the bottom. At one point, I genuinely thought I had gone too dark. Wet watercolor can look incredibly intense, especially deep greens. You think you've ruined everything, and then it dries noticeably lighter. I kept the foreground darker to create depth, so the plants would feel close, while the forest stayed far away. And then I added salt. If you've never seen salt used with watercolor, it looks ridiculous. You literally sprinkle it over the painting like you're seasoning a field. But it pulls the water and pigment around it and creates organic textures you can't fully control. Then came the hardest part, doing nothing. With watercolor, sometimes the best thing you can do is stop touching it before you fix all the beautiful accidents. So I left it alone and let it dry. When I came back, the field had all these light blooms and irregular marks. Some looked like flower buds, some like dry grass, some like plants that weren't even there yet. And that gave me ideas for the next stage. And I really liked that some of the salt marks already looked like tiny flowers before I painted a single petal. It felt like the background was quietly telling me where some of the plants should go. That's what I love about painting this way. I create the base, see what happened naturally, and build on it. After it dried, I deepened a few areas while still keeping the forest soft. Then, it was time for gouache. And this is where the painting really changed. Watercolor gave me transparency, mist, and soft transitions. Gouache let me place light, opaque details directly over the darker background. That was exactly what I needed for the flowers. I started adding larger daisy-like flowers, then smaller marks, thin stems, tiny light shapes, and plants I honestly couldn't even name. Just things growing. And that was the point. A real field isn't made of perfect flowers spaced evenly apart. It's messy. Grass, dry branches, bent stems, plants crossing over each other. That chaos is what makes it feel alive. So I kept changing the height, direction, and shape of the plants instead of making everything too neat. Once the flowers appeared, the whole painting changed. Before, it was just a misty green landscape. Now, it finally had a foreground. I didn't want the flowers too bright either. A neon pink flower would completely take over this soft, gray-green atmosphere. So I kept the pinks muted and added lavender, white, soft blue, and tiny yellow centers. And then came the reason this painting took 2 days. The details. So many details. You think, I just need a few more plants here. And an hour later, you're still working on the same tiny section. But I love this stage. Each little mark feels almost meaningless on its own. But together, they completely transform the painting. I noticed something interesting. The more detail I added to the foreground, the foggier the background seemed, even though I barely changed it. Sharp stems and petals close to us made the soft forest feel farther away, so I left the distance almost untouched. More trees and branches would have killed the mist. Sometimes finishing a painting isn't about knowing what else to add. It's knowing what to leave alone. The next day, I came back and looked at the painting with fresh eyes. That always helps. After staring at the same piece for hours, you stop knowing what it needs. Then you come back the next morning and immediately see it. I toned down a few plants and started looking at the painting as a whole. Toward the end, I stepped away from it much more often. Up close, all you see are flaws. But when you step back, most of them disappear, and you can finally see the composition. And at some point, I looked at it from a distance and thought, okay, that's enough. I could keep painting for another 3 hours, but I don't think it would actually make it better. And this is the final result. What I love most is that it feels detailed and simple at the same time. The foreground is full of flowers and grass, but above it, there's still so much quiet space. The field, the blurred forest, the sky, so the painting still has room to breathe. I also really love how watercolor and gouache worked together here. The watercolor created the mist, soft transitions, and salt textures. Then the gouache let me add tiny light details on top. I don't think I would have gotten the same feeling with only one of them. If you look closely, there are accidents everywhere. Paint spread unexpectedly, colors blended, salt created strange marks. Some lines are uneven, but I didn't want to fix all of it. If you remove every accident from watercolor, I think you remove half of its beauty. You never fully control the water, and I love that. I also like that this painting doesn't really have a big story. It's just a place. I can't even tell you if it exists. Probably not. Or maybe somewhere in a parallel universe. It feels like a mixture of different fields, forests, and memories. Fresh, light, and free. Like the rain just stopped. The air is cold, and you can smell wet grass. I love paintings that let the viewer imagine the rest. And it's funny. At first I was nervous because these new watercolors were much more pigmented than I expected. But by the end, all that worrying was pointless. I still got exactly the softness I wanted. By this point, that perfectly clean new palette from the beginning was already gone. The colors had mixed into each other. There were marks everywhere, and honestly, I liked it better that way. It finally looked like a palette I had actually used. In the end, this piece took me 2 days. And if you compare that first watercolor layer to the final painting, they almost look like 2 different pieces. But that blurry first layer created the whole atmosphere, and all the flowers and plants simply grew on top of it, literally and figuratively. And this is how my misty little wildflower field turned out. Much more detailed than I planned, and it took much longer than I planned. But maybe that's exactly why I like it so much now. It feels quiet, and I think that's exactly what this painting needed. Thank you for spending these 2 days of painting with me. Well, it was a little faster than 2 days for you, and I'm already thinking about what I want to paint next.